Hi. The next thing I'd like to talk about is how we set up our Maya projects. Maya is a little different than Cinema in that for Maya to work, there needs to be a directory structure with a directory structure is just a group of folders, and those folders need very specific names. So that makes this step like a little bit more complicated than it would be in some other 3D programs. But what's nice about it is that once you set it up, it just kind of guarantees that you will stay like a little bit organized. And if you're ever jumping into somebody else's Maya project, you know where to look for stuff. You know where the renders are going to pop up. And if they don't pop up in a certain place, you know that something's not right. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is launch Maya. I like to use Spotlight, so I hit Command Spacebar. It's a little bit faster. Okay, I'm going to go File, still waking up, File, Project window. Okay, and I'm going to go, so here's all the folders and their names, and we're going to make a new one. Okay, so new, where do I want it to live? It can be anywhere you like. I'm going to put it in Documents, and then I'm going to call it demo underscore Maya project. And I like naming my Maya projects, so I always know what they are. Okay, accept. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is set up my render settings. I'm not going to be rendering anything in this particular video, but this is something you do every single time you have a new job. So it's good to just set it up right from the beginning. So let's do that. So I clicked on this little button here. The other way to get to it is go to Rendering, Render, Render Settings. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is set up my file output. So what this does is it's going to automatically name and organize your renders, which is great. So scene, render layer, underscore scene. And if you look below, there's notes of basically everything I'm talking about here, so you don't need to memorize anything. You can even just copy and paste my notes right into that box. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on Merge Aovs, and we are going to set the frame extension to name.number.extension. That way, when the time comes to render sequences, we'll be ready to go. Then we're going to go over to Aovs. We'll explain these someday. But for now, I'm just going to turn on one AOV because I always use a Z pass. So close. And then when we're all set, let's save our scene because we just went through the hassle of setting up our render settings. So let's save scene as, see how it automatically went demo Maya project scenes. So let's call it demo. And we're going to do this kind of special naming convention. So call the scene whatever you like. I suggest demo is probably a good idea for now. And then you give it 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros .mb. Now, because we're doing this little special naming convention, what it allows us to do is every time we save, we can increment and save with one key click. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But for now, it's whatever your file name .4 zeros .mb. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and then the last thing to do before you start working is to quit Maya. And why do I quit it? So basically, all your preferences don't stick until the last successful save. So if I take the time to set up my Maya scene and I'm building stuff and it crashes, it just means I have to do it all over again.